Leadership is not defined by position, title, or authority. It is defined by action, by courage, and by consistency. True leadership begins when an individual chooses to rise above mediocrity and commit to becoming their best self every single day. In a world that rewards comfort and convenience, leadership demands discipline. It calls for excellence, not as a destination, but as a lifelong pursuit. In this audiobook, 12 Disciplines of Leadership Excellence, we explore the timeless principles that transform ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. Individuals who inspire trust, drive results, and leave a legacy of greatness. The first discipline of leadership excellence is clarity of purpose. Every great leader begins with a clear sense of direction. They know exactly who they are, what they want, and why it matters. Clarity creates confidence. When your goals are defined and your purpose is strong, decisions become simpler and progress becomes certain. The average person drifts. The exceptional leader defines the course and commands the wind. The second discipline is competence. Leadership cannot thrive on good intentions alone. It requires skill, mastery, and an ongoing commitment to learning. The best leaders are perpetual students. They read, listen, ask questions, and never assume they know it all. They refine their craft daily, recognizing that competence builds credibility, and credibility inspires trust. The third discipline is responsibility. True leaders never blame others or external conditions for their results. They accept full ownership of every outcome. When something goes wrong, they don't point fingers. They take action. Responsibility is power. The moment you accept responsibility for your life, you gain the ability to shape it. The fourth discipline is integrity. Without it, leadership collapses. Integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. It's the invisible foundation upon which trust, loyalty, and respect are built. When your words and actions align, people follow you not because they must, but because they want to. The fifth discipline is courage. Every leader faces moments of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But the courageous move forward anyway. They act despite fear, knowing that progress is born from risk. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is mastery over it. Every time you step into the unknown, you strengthen your leadership muscle and expand your influence. The sixth discipline is vision. Vision gives leaders the ability to see beyond the immediate, to imagine possibilities others cannot yet see. It turns challenges into stepping stones and setbacks into strategies. A clear vision not only guides your actions, it ignites the passion of everyone around you. The seventh discipline is self-discipline. Every great leader practices the art of self-control. They rise early, stay focused, and prioritize what matters most. They understand that excellence is built in the moments when no one is watching. When distractions call, and they choose purpose instead. Self-discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. The eighth discipline is empathy. Great leaders listen before they speak. They lead not from the top, but from within the hearts of their people. Empathy creates connection. It builds trust, unity, and loyalty. When a leader understands others, they unlock the power of influence that cannot be bought or forced. The ninth discipline is focus on results. Leadership is not about effort, it's about outcomes. Great leaders measure success not by how hard they work, but by what they accomplish. They set clear targets, track progress, and adapt when necessary. Results are the scoreboard of leadership excellence. The 10th discipline is resilience. No leader escapes challenge. Adversity tests character, reveals strength, and separates the committed from the comfortable. Resilient leaders use failure as fuel, turning every obstacle into opportunity. They bend, but they never break. The 11th discipline is communication. The ability to articulate ideas clearly, inspire action, and foster understanding is the lifeblood of leadership. Leaders who communicate with precision and purpose build alignment, eliminate confusion, and drive progress. Words are tools, and in the hands of a wise leader, they move nations. The 12th discipline is service. The highest form of leadership is not dominance, but contribution. Great leaders serve their people, their purpose, and their vision. They measure success not by personal gain, but by the growth of those they lead. Service-centered leadership transforms organizations into families and goals into shared missions. Leadership excellence is not achieved overnight. It is forged in discipline, daily, deliberately, and decisively. Every decision, every challenge, and every moment of integrity becomes part of your leadership legacy. The world does not need more managers, it needs more leaders, men and women who live by principles, act with courage, and serve with purpose. So, as you step forward from this moment, remember this: leadership is a choice. It is the decision to demand more from yourself than others expect. Commit to these 12 disciplines, and you will not only elevate your own life, you will elevate the lives of everyone you touch. That is the true essence of leadership excellence. Leadership begins with vision, and vision begins with purpose. Without it, even the most talented individuals drift aimlessly, reacting to life instead of directing it. Purpose is not a vague sense of ambition. It's the inner compass that defines who you are, why you exist, and what impact you're meant to make. Every truly great leader starts with a deep understanding of this purpose. It is not enough to want success. You must know what success means to you and why it matters. Purpose transforms work into mission, effort into energy, and goals into legacies. When a leader is clear on purpose, every action carries weight. You no longer chase opportunities that don't align with your mission. You stop saying yes to distractions and no to everything that dilutes your vision. Clarity filters out the noise and sharpens your focus on what truly matters. It gives your time direction, your choices consistency, and your leadership authority. People follow those who know where they're going, because certainty is magnetic. When you move with conviction, others are naturally drawn to your confidence. Think of the world's most impactful leaders, those who changed industries, inspired nations, or reshaped culture. They all began with a clear vision. They weren't just reacting to circumstances, they were driven by something larger than themselves. Purpose was their North Star. It guided them through uncertainty, gave meaning to their sacrifices, and anchored them when challenges arose. That's the defining difference between someone who simply manages and someone who leads. Leaders see beyond the moment. They don't just respond to what is, they create what can be. Leadership clarity isn't about having all the answers, it's about knowing the right questions to ask. What am I building? Who am I serving? What legacy will I leave? These questions refine your direction and strengthen your resolve. When you take time to answer them, your leadership gains depth. You begin to understand not only where you're going, but why you're going there. And once you know that, no setback, failure, or obstacle can permanently derail you, because you're not chasing temporary success. You're fulfilling a calling. Clarity also enhances decision-making. Every leader faces countless choices daily: where to invest time, whom to trust, what to prioritize. Without clarity, decisions become emotional or reactive, but with a clear purpose, your choices align naturally with your goals. You no longer waste energy on indecision or regret. You act with confidence, knowing that every step, no matter how small, moves you closer to your ultimate vision. That sense of direction reduces stress, boosts focus, and amplifies productivity. Purpose-driven leadership also builds trust. People can sense when a leader stands for something real, when your values are consistent and your intentions are transparent. Others feel safe to follow you. They believe in your mission because they can see it in your actions, not just your words. Purpose creates authenticity, and authenticity creates loyalty. In a world where people crave meaning and belonging, a leader with clarity becomes a beacon. Someone who reminds others that work can be more than survival. It can be significance. Clarity requires courage. It means facing the truth about your strengths, weaknesses, and motivations. Many avoid this because it's uncomfortable to admit where we fall short. But great leaders are not afraid of self-awareness. They embrace it. They know that clarity begins with honesty, with seeing oneself clearly before expecting others to follow. When you lead from that kind of authenticity, your influence deepens. People don't just hear your words. They feel your integrity. To lead with purpose, you must first create space for reflection. The modern world moves fast, filled with noise, deadlines, and distractions that constantly pull attention outward. But leadership clarity is cultivated in moments of stillness, when you pause, think, and reconnect with what truly matters. Ask yourself daily, am I moving closer to my purpose, or am I drifting? Every great leader spends time in reflection, because clarity is not a one-time revelation. It's a continuous recalibration. Purpose also fuels resilience. When your reason for leading is deeply rooted, you can withstand setbacks that would break others. Challenges lose their power to discourage you, because you see them as part of the mission, not as the end of it. With clarity, adversity becomes a teacher rather than an enemy. You learn, adapt, and grow stronger because you know exactly what you're fighting for. It's that inner conviction that keeps you moving when everything else says stop. Leadership clarity is not loud. It's steady. It doesn't demand attention. It commands respect. When you walk into a room with clear purpose, you don't have to assert authority. People feel it. Your energy speaks before your words do. That's what makes clarity so powerful. It's visible in how you speak, how you act, and how you carry yourself. You become a symbol of direction in a world of confusion. A leader with clarity also inspires others to find their own purpose. People don't follow commands, they follow conviction. When they see someone living with intention, it awakens a sense of meaning within them. They start to believe that their work, too, can contribute to something larger. And when that happens, performance rises, morale strengthens, and entire teams begin to transform. Purpose-driven leadership doesn't just build careers, it builds movements. It unites people around a shared vision and infuses energy into every challenge. It reminds everyone that they're part of something that matters. And when people feel that, they don't just show up. They show up with heart. Leading with purpose and clarity is not about having a perfect plan, It's about having an unwavering direction, guided by principles that do not change when circumstances do. It's about standing firm when others waver, focusing on what endures rather than what's immediate. Purpose gives meaning to effort, clarity gives precision to action, and together they create momentum that cannot be stopped. When you lead from purpose, you become more than a leader. You become a source of light in an uncertain world. People look to you not just for guidance, but for hope. They see in you what's possible when conviction meets clarity. That is leadership at its finest. Steady, intentional, and transformative, and it all begins with one decision: to know exactly who you are, why you lead, and where you're going. Leadership begins the moment you stop waiting for someone else to take charge of your life. It begins the moment you decide that your results, good or bad, are your responsibility. Every choice, every reaction, every outcome is a reflection of your decisions. This mindset separates leaders from followers, visionaries from victims. Responsibility is not a burden, it's freedom. It's the power to say, no matter what happens, I have the ability to respond and shape the outcome. Many people spend their lives explaining away their failures, blaming the economy, circumstances, timing, or other people. They tell stories about why things didn't work out, never realizing that every excuse they make hands their power to something outside themselves. A true leader refuses to give away that control. They understand that the moment you blame, you lose influence, not just over others, but over your own destiny. Taking responsibility means taking ownership of your story, even the chapters that didn't go as planned. It's about saying, I created this, and because I created it, I can change it. A responsibility builds credibility. People naturally trust those who stand by their word and own their actions. When you admit mistakes without hesitation, you display strength, not weakness. You show maturity, character, and courage, the very qualities that inspire others to follow you. In a world where many hide behind excuses, the leader who stands up and says, "It was my call, and I'll fix it," instantly earns respect. Leadership isn't about being perfect, it's about being accountable. Taking full responsibility also creates mental clarity. When you stop blaming and start owning, your mind shifts from, "Why is this happening to me?" to, "What can I do about it?" That single shift transforms frustration into focus. Instead of dwelling on problems, you begin looking for solutions. Instead of being paralyzed by obstacles, you start taking action. Leaders don't waste energy on what they can't control. They channel all their energy into what they can, and that's why they make progress when others stand still. Responsibility is the foundation of growth. When you accept that you are responsible for where you are today, you also accept that you have the power to change where you'll be tomorrow. You become proactive instead of reactive. You stop waiting for luck, for opportunity, or for someone else's approval. You start creating your own path, taking your own risks, and shaping your own success. This shift in mindset changes everything. From how you see your career to how you manage your relationships, your health, and your time. Great leaders lead by example. They don't demand accountability from others until they've first mastered it themselves. They show their teams what it looks like to own decisions, to admit when they're wrong, and to make things right without delay. That kind of leadership builds cultures of trust. When people see you take responsibility, they feel safe to do the same. They stop hiding mistakes and start solving problems. responsibility spreads. It multiplies influence, confidence, and integrity across an entire organization. There's also a deeper truth about responsibility that every leader eventually learns. Your results are not determined by circumstances, but by how you respond to them. Life will always bring uncertainty, economic changes, unexpected challenges, personal losses. But your response defines your leadership. Some people crumble when faced with difficulty. Others rise higher because they've trained their minds to ask, "What's my next move?" Responsibility keeps you focused on what's possible, even when the situation looks impossible. Leaders who live by this discipline never say, "It's not my fault." Instead, they ask, "What part did I play, and what can I do now to make it better?" This isn't about taking unnecessary blame. It's about claiming the power to influence outcomes. When you stop waiting for external forces to change, you become the change. That's how leadership grows, from within, not from circumstance. Taking responsibility also builds emotional strength. It requires humility to admit that you are the author of your own mistakes, but it also builds resilience. Each time you accept responsibility, you strengthen your inner core. You become less defensive, less fearful of criticism, and more open to feedback. Responsibility invites growth because it turns every experience into a lesson. You stop fearing failure because even failure becomes valuable. It's information, guidance, and preparation for what comes next. In leadership, responsibility extends beyond personal choices. It includes the people you lead. A responsible leader never throws their team under the bus when things go wrong. They stand in front of their people, protect them from unnecessary blame, and take the weight themselves. And when things go right, they share the credit generously. That's what earns loyalty. That's what builds teams that would follow their leader through any storm. Taking responsibility also means managing your energy and emotions. When you feel frustrated or stressed, it's easy to lash out, complain, or lose focus. But responsible leaders pause, breathe, and ask, "How can I respond in a way that adds value?" They don't allow temporary emotions to dictate lasting consequences. They lead themselves before they lead others. Self-leadership, managing your mind, emotions, and reactions, is the highest form of responsibility. In every area of life, there's a simple truth: you are the common denominator. Whether it's your career, your relationships, or your level of success, you are the one element that's always present. That means change begins with you. When you improve yourself, everything around you begins to shift. Taking responsibility for your growth, your mindset, and your habits gives you the power to transform your entire world. This principle may sound simple, but it is rare. Most people want the rewards of leadership without the weight of responsibility. But the two cannot be separated. Responsibility is the price of greatness. It's what turns ordinary individuals into trusted leaders, capable of carrying vision, guiding teams, and shaping the future. Every time you take ownership, you elevate yourself. Every time you accept responsibility, you earn influence. Leadership, at its core, is the art of response, the ability to respond to life with clarity, courage, and purpose. The word responsibility itself means the ability to respond. That's where your power lies, in your response. When you take responsibility for your actions, your thoughts, and your outcomes, you gain control over the one thing that truly matters: yourself. And once you can lead yourself, leading others becomes second nature. Greatness begins the moment you stop waiting for someone else to fix, approve, or validate your path. It begins when you decide that your life is your leadership, and you are responsible for every part of it. The leader who embraces responsibility doesn't wait for opportunity. They create it. They don't fear mistakes. They learn from them. They don't blame others. They build solutions. Because when you own everything, you can change anything. Integrity is the invisible force that gives leadership its strength. It is the alignment between what you say, what you believe, and what you do. It is quiet, yet powerful, subtle, yet unmistakable. When integrity becomes your foundation, everything else in leadership gains stability. Your relationships, your influence, your credibility, and your legacy. Without it, no amount of talent, strategy, or ambition can sustain lasting success. Integrity is not an act to perform, it is a principle to live by. Every leader faces moments when integrity is tested. These moments rarely arrive with clear warning. They show up quietly, disguised as small decisions. Do you tell the full truth when a partial truth would be easier? Do you honor a promise when no one is watching? Do you stay loyal to your values when temptation whispers convenience? Integrity is proven in the unseen, not the celebrated. It's in the choices you make when there is no applause, no audience, and no reward. Those are the moments that define your character, and character is the real measure of leadership. When a leader walks in integrity, their influence extends far beyond words. People may not always agree with you, but they will respect you. They may not always understand your decisions, but they will trust your motives. That trust is sacred. It cannot be demanded, it must be earned. Integrity earns it every time. It builds an unshakable reputation that becomes your greatest asset in leadership. In contrast, even one act of dishonesty can destroy years of credibility. Trust, once broken, is difficult to rebuild. That is why great leaders guard their integrity more carefully than their profits, titles, or achievements. Integrity is not perfection, it's consistency. It doesn't mean you never make mistakes, it means you admit them when you do. The leader who takes responsibility for their errors demonstrates courage and maturity. They don't hide behind excuses or image. They confront truth directly and take corrective action. This kind of honesty strengthens a leader's moral authority. People will forgive a mistake. They will not forgive deception. The willingness to be transparent, even when it's uncomfortable, separates authentic leaders from pretenders. Living with integrity also creates inner peace. When your actions align with your values, you eliminate inner conflict. You no longer waste energy pretending or managing contradictions. You move through life with calm confidence because you have nothing to hide and nothing to prove. This inner stability radiates outward. It shapes how you communicate, how you decide, and how you inspire others. People can feel when a leader is grounded in truth. Integrity gives your presence a quiet power that no speech or strategy can replicate. Integrity also determines how you treat others when you have power. Many people act honorably when they need something, but their true nature appears when they hold influence. Integrity ensures that you lead with fairness, compassion, and respect. Even when you don't have to, it means treating every person with dignity, regardless of their status or role. The way you treat those who can do nothing for you reveals more about your leadership than how you treat those who can. Leaders of integrity build cultures of respect because they lead by example. There will be times when integrity costs you something. money, opportunity, relationships, or recognition. But in the long run, it pays you back in ways that can't be measured in numbers. It builds your legacy. It ensures that when people speak your name, they do so with admiration, not doubt. The rewards of integrity are slow, but they are lasting. The momentary comfort of compromise can never match the enduring pride of knowing you stood by your principles. Integrity also fuels courage. When you are guided by strong values, you don't hesitate to stand up for what's right. Even when it's unpopular, leaders without integrity follow the crowd. Leaders with integrity lead it. They hold to truth even when it costs them approval. They make decisions not for convenience, but for conscience. This kind of leadership requires strength, but it also earns respect that cannot be bought. People instinctively rally behind those who stand for something real. In organizations, integrity creates stability. Teams perform better when they trust their leaders to do what's right. It reduces fear, politics, and confusion because everyone knows the standards are consistent. Integrity brings clarity. It becomes the moral compass that guides behavior at every level. When integrity drives decision-making, organizations grow stronger from the inside out. Every policy, partnership, and plan is built on a foundation of trust. Personal integrity also determines how you manage your ambitions. Success achieved without integrity is fragile. It may shine for a moment, but it will eventually collapse under the weight of deceit. True success is sustainable because it's rooted in honesty. Integrity ensures that your rise doesn't come at the expense of your values. It keeps you grounded when you're praised and humble when you're powerful. It reminds you that leadership is not just about achievement. It's about character. Integrity isn't about grand gestures. It's built through daily habits. Keeping promises, telling the truth, doing what you said you would do, honoring commitments even when they're inconvenient. Each act of integrity strengthens your leadership muscle. Over time, it becomes instinctive. You no longer question whether to do the right thing. You simply do it. That consistency becomes your signature, your silent statement of reliability. In every interaction, people are silently asking, "Can I trust you?" Your integrity answers that question long before your words do. The tone of your voice, the way you follow through, the respect you show, all of it communicates your character. Leadership is not about forcing trust. It's about earning it through behavior that speaks louder than promises. The leader who keeps integrity at their core never has to chase credibility. It follows them naturally. There's a saying that integrity is doing the right thing even when no one will ever know. But in leadership, someone always knows. You carry the memory of every decision you make. You know when you compromised and when you stood tall. That awareness becomes part of who you are. When you consistently act with honesty, you strengthen not just your reputation, but your self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of lasting confidence. Leadership is not measured solely by results. It's measured by how those results are achieved. Integrity ensures that your success uplifts rather than exploits, builds rather than breaks, and inspires rather than intimidates. It's what allows you to lead not only with authority, but with honor. In the end, leadership fades, positions change, and titles are forgotten. What remains is the integrity with which you lived and led. That is what people remember, and that is what endures. Discipline is the quiet force behind every great achievement. It is the difference between intention and accomplishment, between dreaming and doing. Self-discipline is not a one-time effort. It is a lifelong commitment to consistency, focus, and mastery. It is the invisible strength that drives leaders to act when others hesitate, to persevere when others quit, and to finish strong when the world expects them to stop. Leadership without discipline is unstable. It cannot sustain vision, nor can it endure challenge. True leadership demands self-mastery, and self-mastery is born from discipline. Every person begins with potential, but potential alone means nothing without structure. Discipline gives potential direction. It transforms energy into progress. It teaches you that excellence is not built in moments of inspiration. It's built in the repetition of right habits. The leader who rises early, plans carefully, and follows through consistently will always outperform the one who waits for motivation to strike. Motivation is fleeting, discipline is permanent. Motivation makes you start, discipline makes you finish. Self-discipline begins with small choices. It's found in the quiet decision to use your time wisely, to follow through on promises, to resist distractions that steal focus. These choices may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they create a pattern, a rhythm of reliability that builds confidence and momentum. Great leaders don't wake up disciplined. They become disciplined by mastering the small moments when it would be easier to quit. Discipline also demands sacrifice. To achieve anything meaningful, you must give up something comfortable. It might be the comfort of laziness, the safety of routine, or the distraction of instant gratification. Every sacrifice strengthens your will. Every act of restraint sharpens your focus. Discipline is not about denying pleasure. It's about delaying it until you've earned it. Leaders who understand this principle achieve not just success, but satisfaction, because they know they built their results through effort, not luck. In a world filled with noise and distraction, self-discipline becomes a competitive advantage. Most people are easily pulled off course by emails, notifications, and endless entertainment. But disciplined leaders control their environment before it controls them. They set boundaries, manage their energy, and guard their focus like a treasure. They understand that time is the one resource that cannot be replenished, and how they use it determines their future. Discipline also defines how you handle your emotions. There will be days when frustration, fatigue, or doubt threaten to take over, but the disciplined leader acts based on values, not feelings. They know that emotions are temporary, but consequences are lasting. They choose to act in alignment with their purpose, even when their emotions suggest otherwise. This ability to stay calm under pressure, to move forward despite discomfort, is what separates amateurs from professionals. Every challenge in leadership tests discipline. When the workload feels overwhelming, when results are slow, when others lose faith, discipline becomes the anchor that keeps you steady. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. The disciplined leader doesn't need every day to be easy. They just need to keep showing up. They know that consistency beats intensity every time. A single burst of effort can create a spark, but only sustained effort creates fire. Self-discipline also requires a clear sense of priorities. The disciplined leader understands that not everything deserves attention. They focus on the few things that truly move them closer to their vision. They learn to say no to what distracts them so they can say yes to what defines them. This kind of focus requires courage. because it often means walking a different path than others. But that's what leadership is, doing what others won't so you can achieve what others can't. Discipline isn't about rigidity. It's about direction. It gives you the freedom to act with control instead of chaos. When you're disciplined, you're not ruled by impulse. You become deliberate, strategic, and purposeful in everything you do. This self-control allows you to lead others effectively, because people naturally trust leaders who are in control of themselves. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anyone else. One of the most powerful aspects of self-discipline is momentum. The first step is always the hardest, but once you move, progress builds on itself. Each disciplined act fuels the next. Success in this sense becomes a rhythm, a continuous flow of focused effort and refined action. When you develop the habit of discipline, you no longer need to push yourself every day. Discipline begins to pull you forward. It becomes part of your identity, something you do naturally because it reflects who you are. Discipline also brings balance. Many assume that disciplined people live joyless, rigid lives. In truth, discipline creates space for freedom. When you control your habits, your time, and your focus, you create room for rest, creativity, and fulfillment. Chaos consumes energy, order creates peace. Discipline is not about limitation. It's about liberation. It frees you from the chains of procrastination and inconsistency. It gives you mastery over your schedule, your actions, and your destiny. The greatest leaders in history, those who built empires, transformed industries, and inspired nations, shared one quality in common: relentless discipline. They worked when others slept, studied when others played, and endured when others surrendered. They understood that results are not random. They are the reward of structure, patience, and precision. Discipline is what transforms vision into victory. It's what turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. There will be moments when discipline feels exhausting, when the temptation to take shortcuts is overwhelming. But those are the defining moments of leadership. The times when persistence builds character and consistency builds strength. Every time you resist the urge to quit, you reinforce your commitment. Every time you stay the course, you harden your will. Eventually, discipline stops being a struggle and becomes your standard. In the end, discipline is not about control. It's about commitment. It's the promise you make to yourself that your goals matter more than your excuses. It's the daily decision to act, to persist, and to honor your purpose, no matter how you feel. Discipline gives structure to your dreams and turns your ambitions into achievements. It doesn't demand perfection. It demands progress. And that progress, accumulated over time, becomes the true measure of leadership excellence. Leadership is built on the foundation of communication. Every great leader throughout history has understood that words have the power to inspire nations, guide organizations, and transform lives. Communication is not simply about speaking, it's about connecting, transmitting vision, values, and purpose in a way that resonates deeply with others. When a leader speaks with clarity and conviction, they ignite confidence and direction in those who follow. Without clear communication, even the most brilliant ideas remain trapped in isolation, never reaching their full potential. Clarity in communication begins with clarity of thought. Before you can express your vision to others, you must first understand it completely yourself. Many leaders struggle not because they lack ideas, but because they cannot articulate them in a way that others can grasp and act upon. The disciplined communicator distills complex ideas into simple, understandable messages. They eliminate confusion by choosing words that carry precision and purpose. They know that clarity is not just about what is said. It's about what is understood. A leader's words have weight. When spoken carelessly, they can divide, demotivate, or destroy. But when used wisely, they have the power to unite teams, strengthen resolve, and inspire collective effort. People follow clarity, not confusion. When your communication is vague, your followers hesitate. When your words are direct and meaningful, they move with confidence. A leader who communicates well builds bridges between vision and execution. They turn dreams into direction and direction into action. True communication is more than giving orders. It is creating understanding. It's about making sure every person on your team knows not just what to do, but why it matters. When people understand again why, they take ownership of their actions. They begin to care, to invest emotionally in the mission. A clear vision transforms followers into partners, workers into believers. It gives meaning to their efforts and pride to their contributions. The most effective communicators don't rely on fancy words or complicated language. They rely on sincerity and structure. Their words are consistent with their actions. People trust what they see more than what they hear, so the leader's integrity becomes the amplifier of their message. When your behavior aligns with your words, your communication carries credibility. Without that alignment, even the most eloquent message will fall flat. Listening is also an essential part of communication. Many leaders make the mistake of believing that communication only happens when they are speaking. But the best leaders listen with intensity. They pay attention not just to words, but to tone, emotion, and silence. Listening builds connection. It tells people they matter, that their opinions count. When you listen deeply, you gain insight into the hearts and minds of those you lead. That understanding becomes the foundation for stronger, more unified leadership. Communication also involves emotional intelligence, the ability to sense how your message is being received and adjust accordingly. A leader who speaks without awareness can alienate their audience, but a leader who understands emotion can move people toward transformation. Sometimes, what you say is less important than how you say it. The tone, timing, and delivery of your message can make the difference between inspiration and indifference. Emotionally intelligent leaders know when to speak firmly and when to speak gently, when to challenge, and when to encourage. To communicate with vision means to paint a picture so vivid that others can see it, feel it, and believe in it. Great leaders are storytellers. They use stories to illustrate principles, to make ideas tangible. Stories give context to the mission and help others imagine themselves as part of something greater. When you speak in stories, you don't just transfer information, you transfer emotion. You awaken belief, and belief is the fuel that drives teams toward extraordinary results. Consistency is another pillar of clear communication. Your message must remain steady, even when circumstances change. People find security in predictability. When your communication is consistent, you become a compass in times of uncertainty. In moments of crisis, people will look to you not just for answers, but for reassurance. If your words are steady and your tone confident, you become the emotional anchor that keeps everyone grounded. In the age of technology, communication has become faster, but not necessarily clearer. Leaders must learn to adapt their communication across multiple platforms. Face-to-face, written, digital, without losing authenticity or precision. Every message, whether delivered in a meeting or through a screen, should reflect the same purpose and professionalism. Modern leadership demands digital literacy, but more than that, it demands emotional clarity that transcends the medium. Confidence in communication is also critical. Confidence does not mean arrogance. It means conviction. When you speak with certainty, people believe you know where you're going, but confidence is built on preparation. Great communicators rehearse their messages, refine their language, and anticipate questions. They make clarity look effortless, because they've done the work behind the scenes. Leadership communication is not spontaneous inspiration, it's intentional expression. Another essential aspect of communication is transparency. Concealing the truth, even with good intentions, erodes trust. Followers respect honesty, even when the message is difficult. Transparent communication builds credibility. It tells people you value them enough to be real. When you communicate openly, your team feels safe, and when people feel safe, they perform with loyalty and creativity. Communication also extends beyond words. It lives in your body language, your presence, and your energy. Before you speak a word, people are already reading your confidence, your posture, your tone. Nonverbal signals often speak louder than sentences. A calm demeanor communicates stability. Eye contact communicates connection. A genuine smile communicates openness. Every part of your presence sends a message, whether you intend it or not. The best communicators are aware of this and use it to reinforce their message, not contradict it. Leaders who communicate with clarity and vision shape culture. They create environments where people feel aligned, informed, and inspired. They replace confusion with confidence and replace chaos with purpose. Every meeting, every speech, every conversation becomes an opportunity to reinforce values and direction. Over time, consistent communication becomes a leadership signature. It tells people what you stand for and why you lead. The greatest leaders are remembered not just for what they accomplished, but for what they said and how they said it. Their words echo through generations because they carried truth, power, and vision. To lead is to communicate, to reach into the minds and hearts of others and ignite a shared sense of purpose. When you speak with clarity, you lead with certainty. And when you lead with vision, you leave a legacy that speaks long after your voice is gone. Courage is the cornerstone of effective leadership. It is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. Every decision a leader makes carries risk, uncertainty, and potential criticism. Without courage, leadership becomes hesitant, reactive, and ultimately ineffective. Courage is what transforms knowledge into action, vision into reality, and intention into results. Leaders who cultivate courage are willing to step into the unknown, confront challenges head-on, and make difficult decisions when others shy away. It is this willingness to face uncertainty that separates leaders who achieve greatness from those who merely occupy positions. Courage begins with self-awareness. Leaders must understand their own fears, limitations, and vulnerabilities before they can confront external challenges. Recognizing fear does not weaken leadership, it strengthens it. Awareness of risk allows a leader to make informed, deliberate choices rather than impulsive or reactive ones. It provides a framework for measured bravery, ensuring that courage is guided by wisdom rather than recklessness. Every courageous act begins with the decision to acknowledge fear and proceed anyway, understanding that hesitation rarely creates progress. True courage is often invisible. It does not always manifest in dramatic gestures or bold speeches. It is found in the quiet, steady resolve to take responsibility, make tough choices, and uphold principles, even when doing so is uncomfortable. Courage is seen when a leader admits a mistake publicly, confronts a systemic problem within their organization, or stands alone for what is right. These acts may go unnoticed by the world, but they have profound impact on the culture and morale of those being led. Leaders who consistently demonstrate this kind of courage inspire loyalty and respect, creating an environment where others feel safe to take calculated risks and innovate. Courage allows leaders to make decisions in uncertainty. Every strategic choice carries the possibility of failure, yet indecision is far more damaging than a well-considered mistake. Leaders who lack courage delay action, miss opportunities, and create stagnation. Those who act decisively, even without complete information, gain momentum and confidence. Courage is the engine that transforms intention into execution. It empowers leaders to act despite the fear of criticism, economic risk, or social backlash. Without it, potential remains unrealized and opportunities slip away unnoticed. Facing opposition requires extraordinary courage. Leadership often involves challenging the status quo, questioning existing practices, and confronting complacency. This can provoke resistance, doubt, and conflict. Courageous leaders understand that true influence is earned through bold action, not passive agreement. They speak up when silence would be easier, advocate for change when comfort would be safer, and defend their principles, even when it is unpopular. Opposition does not deter them. It sharpens their focus and strengthens their resolve. Every act of courageous leadership builds credibility and trust among those who observe and follow. Courage also fuels innovation. New ideas, new strategies, and new approaches inherently involve uncertainty. Leaders who lack courage avoid experimentation, preferring the safety of routine and tradition. Courageous leaders embrace creativity, take calculated risks, and encourage others to explore beyond conventional limits. They understand that failure is a teacher, not a verdict, and that breakthrough results rarely come from comfort zones. When a leader models this mindset, their team learns to take intelligent risks, driving growth and progress. Emotional courage is equally vital. Leaders must confront not only external challenges, but also internal conflicts, doubts, and insecurities. They must make decisions that may upset friends, superiors, or subordinates. They must manage criticism without losing composure and maintain conviction when faced with personal doubts. Emotional courage ensures that leaders remain grounded and decisive even under pressure. It allows them to navigate complex interpersonal dynamics with clarity, empathy, and authority, maintaining both personal integrity and organizational stability. Courageous leaders are willing to take responsibility for outcomes, both positive and negative. They do not shift blame or evade accountability when decisions produce undesired results. Instead, they analyze mistakes, learn from them, and make course corrections with transparency and humility. This willingness to own outcomes demonstrates strength and integrity, inspiring confidence in teams and stakeholders. People are drawn to leaders who take responsibility boldly, knowing that such leaders will protect their interests and champion shared goals, even in difficult circumstances. Courage amplifies vision. A leader's vision is only as powerful as the courage required to pursue it. Transformative ideas often meet resistance, skepticism, or fear of change. Leaders must act decisively and consistently to bring their vision to life, navigating obstacles and inspiring commitment along the way. Courage allows a leader to articulate an ambitious vision, rally support, and persist in its realization despite uncertainty or criticism. Without courage, vision remains aspirational rather than actionable, leaving potential unrealized and opportunities untapped. Courage develops resilience. Every leader will face setbacks, failures, and moments of doubt. Courage provides the strength to endure adversity, recover from mistakes, and continue moving forward. It allows leaders to see challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than insurmountable barriers. Resilient leaders maintain composure, adapt to changing circumstances, and continue to make informed decisions, even when faced with prolonged difficulty. Courage ensures that leaders do not succumb to fear, pressure, or frustration, but instead emerge stronger and more capable from each trial. Courage also inspires those around you. Leaders who consistently demonstrate bravery in decision-making cultivate a culture of trust and confidence. Team members are more willing to embrace challenges, share ideas, and step outside their comfort zones when they see their leader doing the same. Courage is contagious. It spreads through action, not words. It transforms environments from cautious and reactive to dynamic and proactive, where individuals are motivated to take ownership, innovate, and contribute fully. The essence of leadership lies in action, and courage is the engine of action. Knowledge, skills, and intelligence are important, but without courage, they remain latent. Leaders who cultivate courage act with decisiveness, confront challenges without hesitation, and make bold choices that others fear to take. They balance risk with insight, boldness with strategy, and ambition with ethics. Courage is what allows vision to become reality, obstacles to become stepping stones, and ordinary efforts to create extraordinary outcomes. Every courageous decision strengthens leadership capacity, deepens trust, and advances the mission with clarity and conviction. True leadership is defined not by the power you hold, but by the ability to inspire others to act toward a shared vision. Authority may command compliance, but it cannot create commitment. It can enforce rules, but it cannot instill belief. A leader who relies solely on position or title may achieve short-term obedience, but lasting influence comes from the capacity to inspire, to awaken a sense of purpose and passion in others. Vision is the catalyst that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement, and it is the mark of leadership excellence. Inspiring through vision begins with clarity of purpose. A leader must articulate not just what the goal is, but why it matters. People are not motivated by tasks alone, they are motivated by meaning. They want to know how their work contributes to something larger than themselves. When a leader communicates a compelling vision, they connect individual effort to collective impact, transforming routine activities into purposeful action. This connection creates ownership, enthusiasm, and sustained engagement. A leader's vision must be vivid and tangible. Abstract statements of ambition fail to inspire because they lack context and emotional resonance. The most effective leaders paint a picture that people can see, feel, and believe in. They describe not only the destination, but the journey, showing how each step contributes to the greater objective. By making the vision real and relatable, leaders cultivate belief and alignment. When people can envision success, they are naturally drawn to it and motivated to work toward it. Communication is the vehicle for vision. A leader who inspires through vision speaks with clarity, passion, and conviction. Their words carry energy, direction, and purpose. They engage the intellect and stir the emotions, creating a sense of urgency and excitement. Storytelling becomes a powerful tool in this process. Stories illustrate principles, convey values, and make the vision tangible. They allow people to see themselves as part of the mission, igniting personal commitment and responsibility. Leaders who master the art of narrative can transform abstract goals into actionable plans, fueled by shared belief. Visionary leadership also requires consistency. The leader must reinforce the vision in every decision, action, and communication. Inconsistency creates confusion and erodes trust. When people see the leader's words aligned with their actions, credibility is established and the vision gains momentum. Repetition does not diminish impact. It strengthens clarity and ensures that every member of the team understands the direction and purpose. Consistency transforms vision from an idea into a culture, a set of shared priorities and values that guides behavior across the organization. Empowerment is a critical component of inspiring through vision. Leaders who inspire do not dictate every action. They provide guidance, resources, and autonomy, allowing people to contribute creatively toward the vision. When team members feel empowered, they invest more deeply, innovate, and take ownership of outcomes. Vision without empowerment is incomplete. It must be paired with trust and support, enabling individuals to translate belief into tangible results. Visionary leaders also model the behaviors and attitudes they expect from others. They exemplify commitment, courage, and persistence, demonstrating that the vision is not just words, but a lived reality. This alignment between word and action reinforces the vision and inspires imitation. People are more likely to commit to a vision when they see it embodied by their leader. Leadership through example amplifies influence, as credibility is established not through authority alone, but through demonstration of integrity and purpose. Inspiring through vision also requires anticipation of challenges and obstacles. A clear vision acknowledges potential difficulties while emphasizing the achievable outcomes. Leaders prepare their teams to face adversity with resilience and determination, framing obstacles as opportunities for growth and learning. This proactive approach instills confidence, reduces fear, and maintains momentum even when conditions are difficult. Courageous and visionary leaders provide a roadmap through uncertainty, giving followers the assurance that their efforts are meaningful and directed. Emotional intelligence enhances the power of vision. Leaders must understand the motivations, aspirations, and fears of those they lead. By connecting the vision to what people value most, leaders tap into intrinsic motivation. This connection strengthens commitment, energizes performance, and fosters loyalty. When individuals feel understood and valued, they are more likely to invest themselves fully in achieving shared goals. Visionary leaders use empathy to align the organizational mission with personal purpose, creating a harmonious and inspired workforce. A leader's vision must evolve with context and circumstance. While the core purpose remains steady, strategies and methods may need adaptation. Leaders who communicate this flexibility inspire confidence. Because they show foresight and adaptability, people are reassured by leaders who can navigate change while keeping the vision intact. This balance of stability and adaptability ensures that the vision remains compelling and achievable, even as external conditions shift. The impact of inspiring through vision extends beyond immediate goals. It cultivates a culture of initiative, innovation, and collaboration. People learn to think creatively, anticipate needs, and contribute beyond the scope of their defined roles. Visionary leadership transforms organizations by building commitment at all levels, turning individual effort into collective achievement. When people see that their work has meaning and that their contributions matter, performance, morale, and engagement all increase. Inspiring through vision also fosters resilience. Teams guided by a compelling vision are better equipped to withstand setbacks, maintain focus, and recover quickly from failure. The vision acts as a guiding light, reminding individuals why their work matters and sustaining motivation when circumstances are challenging. Resilient teams are productive, adaptive, and committed, capable of achieving extraordinary results under pressure. Ultimately, leadership is measured not by the authority exercised, but by the inspiration generated. A leader who inspires through vision creates alignment, commitment, and engagement. They transform followers into believers, tasks into purpose, and goals into movements. Vision becomes the fuel that drives innovation, performance, and long-term success. Authority alone may compel action, but vision ignites passion, loyalty, and transformative achievement. The leaders who master this discipline leave lasting impact because they guide not by position, but by belief, purpose, and inspiration. Resilience is the defining characteristic of exceptional leaders. It is the capacity to recover, adapt, and grow stronger in the face of adversity. Every leader encounters setbacks, disappointments, and unexpected obstacles. The difference between those who falter and those who thrive is resilience, the ability to absorb difficulty without losing purpose, to learn from failure instead of being defeated by it, and to keep moving forward with determination. Resilient leaders understand that challenges are not roadblocks. They are opportunities to build strength, insight, and influence. Developing resilience begins with mindset. Leaders who cultivate a resilient mindset view difficulties as temporary and solvable, rather than permanent and insurmountable. They recognize that failure is not a reflection of their worth, but a source of information and a catalyst for growth. Each obstacle carries a lesson that, when understood, equips them to navigate future challenges more effectively. By framing setbacks as learning experiences, resilient leaders transform adversity into advantage, turning moments of struggle into opportunities for skill, insight, and character development. Resilience requires emotional control. Leadership is inherently demanding, and pressure often generates fear, frustration, or doubt. Resilient leaders acknowledge these emotions without allowing them to dictate action. They pause, assess, and respond with deliberate intention. By mastering emotional responses, leaders maintain clarity under stress, make rational decisions, and model composure for their teams. This stability inspires confidence and trust, as people naturally follow leaders who demonstrate unwavering calm and control in the midst of uncertainty. Adaptability is a critical component of resilience. Challenges often come unannounced and in forms that require rapid adjustment. Resilient leaders are flexible in their approach, willing to shift strategies without abandoning their overarching vision. They understand that persistence does not mean rigidity, it means commitment to objectives while embracing innovative methods to achieve them. Adaptable leaders seize opportunities within obstacles, turning potential setbacks into pathways for growth and progress. Resilience is reinforced by self-awareness. Leaders who understand their strengths, limitations, and values are better equipped to navigate adversity. They can identify when to seek guidance, delegate responsibilities, or rely on their core competencies to overcome challenges. Self-awareness provides a realistic perspective on both threats and opportunities, allowing leaders to respond with confidence rather than reactionary panic. It empowers them to take proactive measures, anticipate obstacles, and maintain focus on long-term objectives despite temporary disruptions. A resilient leader builds strong support systems. No one overcomes challenges alone. By cultivating relationships based on trust, loyalty, and mutual respect, leaders create networks that provide guidance, encouragement, and diverse perspectives during difficult times. These networks amplify resilience as leaders can rely on collaborative problem-solving, collective wisdom, and emotional reinforcement when confronting obstacles. People follow leaders who not only navigate challenges themselves, but also create environments where teams can thrive under pressure. Persistence is inseparable from resilience. The ability to continue moving forward despite repeated setbacks defines the trajectory of leadership success. Resilient leaders refuse to be discouraged by temporary failures. They remain committed to their goals, maintaining effort and focus when others abandon the mission. Persistence coupled with resilience creates momentum, gradually overcoming barriers that initially seemed insurmountable. Over time, repeated acts of perseverance build confidence, reinforce credibility, and inspire those around them to emulate similar determination. Resilient leaders view problems as opportunities for innovation. Challenges often expose gaps in processes, skills, or systems. Instead of lamenting difficulties, resilient leaders analyze situations to identify solutions, improve practices, and strengthen future performance. Adversity becomes a laboratory for learning and improvement, turning each challenge into a stepping stone toward excellence. Leaders who embrace this perspective transform uncertainty from a source of fear into a driver of creative growth. Self-care is an essential, yet often overlooked, aspect of resilience. Physical and mental well-being provide the energy, focus, and clarity required to navigate challenges effectively. Resilient leaders recognize the importance of rest, reflection, and recovery. They maintain routines that support stamina and endurance, understanding that sustained performance depends on balance and renewal. By prioritizing self-care, they maintain the capacity to lead decisively, think strategically, and inspire others even in high-pressure circumstances. Resilience is strengthened by perspective. Leaders who view challenges within the larger context of their mission are less likely to be overwhelmed by temporary setbacks. They understand that adversity is part of the journey, and that every challenge offers an opportunity to demonstrate commitment, courage, and resourcefulness. Perspective allows leaders to maintain optimism, make rational decisions, and sustain motivation, both for themselves and for the people who follow them. Mentorship and learning from others also contribute to resilience. Leaders who study the experiences of those who have overcome similar obstacles gain insight and guidance. They observe strategies for coping with failure, approaches to decision-making under stress, and methods for maintaining focus in uncertainty. By learning from the successes and mistakes of others, resilient leaders accelerate their own growth and enhance their capacity to navigate complex challenges. Resilient leaders model tenacity and fortitude for their teams. People look to leaders for cues on how to respond in adversity by demonstrating resilience in action, remaining composed, making informed decisions, and pursuing solutions. Leaders inspire similar behaviors in others. Teams led by resilient individuals are more likely to persist through difficulty, innovate under pressure, and maintain commitment when challenges arise. The culture of resilience spreads from the top, creating an organization capable of withstanding and thriving under stress. Ultimately, resilience transforms leadership challenges into opportunities for growth, influence, and achievement. Leaders who cultivate resilience navigate uncertainty with confidence, recover quickly from setbacks, and maintain focus on long-term objectives. They inspire others to rise above adversity, fostering a culture of determination, creativity, and commitment. Resilience is not a static trait. It is a skill cultivated through mindset, self-awareness, persistence, adaptability, and emotional strength. It is the quality that allows leaders to face difficulty without faltering, to emerge stronger from every challenge, and to lead with unwavering purpose and vision. Leadership is a journey, not a destination, and continuous learning is the engine that propels leaders forward. The world is constantly evolving, and the most successful leaders recognize that resting on past knowledge is the surest path to stagnation. True leadership requires curiosity, humility, and a relentless commitment to personal and professional growth. Leaders who embrace continuous learning remain adaptable, innovative, and capable of navigating complex and ever-changing environments. They understand that mastery is not a fixed state, but a lifelong pursuit, and that every experience, success, and failure offers an opportunity to expand understanding and refine skill. Continuous learning begins with mindset. Leaders must cultivate intellectual humility, the recognition that no matter how much they know, there is always more to learn. This mindset opens the door to new perspectives, insights, and strategies. It prevents arrogance and complacency, ensuring that leaders remain teachable even when they hold significant authority. Intellectual humility is not a sign of weakness. It is a demonstration of strength, courage, and self-awareness. Leaders who embrace this mindset model a culture of curiosity and growth, encouraging others to adopt the same approach. Resilient leaders actively seek feedback. Constructive criticism is a vital tool for improvement, yet many shy away from it out of fear or pride. Leaders committed to continuous growth view feedback as a gift, a window into blind spots, weaknesses, and opportunities for development. They listen attentively, reflect critically, and implement changes that strengthen performance. Feedback loops are not occasional events, but ongoing processes that provide real-time insight into how leadership actions impact people, results, and organizational culture. Learning is not limited to formal education or training programs. Every encounter, every challenge, and every failure carries lessons for those willing to observe and reflect. Leaders who treat life as a classroom absorb knowledge from colleagues, mentors, competitors, and even their own mistakes. They study trends, analyze outcomes, and explore emerging practices to remain ahead of the curve. By integrating lessons from diverse experiences, leaders build a rich reservoir of strategies, skills, and insights that can be applied to future challenges. Adaptability is a natural byproduct of continuous learning. In today's dynamic world, rigid thinking is a liability. Leaders who cultivate growth remain flexible, exploring alternative approaches when circumstances change. They anticipate shifts in markets, technologies, and societal expectations, preparing their teams to respond effectively. Adaptable leaders leverage learning to turn uncertainty into opportunity, using knowledge as a tool to navigate complexity and maintain momentum. Continuous learning also strengthens decision-making. Leaders who invest in expanding their knowledge base and sharpening their analytical skills can assess situations more accurately, weigh risks more effectively, and anticipate consequences with greater precision. Knowledge reduces uncertainty, improves judgment, and increases confidence, enabling leaders to act decisively even in high-pressure situations. Decision-making grounded in continuous learning becomes both strategic and sustainable, minimizing errors while maximizing impact. Mentorship and networking are integral to leadership growth. Leaders who seek guidance from experienced mentors gain access to perspectives shaped by years of trial, error, and success. Mentorship accelerates learning, providing insight that might take decades to acquire independently. Similarly, building a network of peers and collaborators exposes leaders to diverse ideas, innovative strategies, and alternative problem-solving approaches. Engaging with a community of learners fosters cross-pollination of ideas, enhancing creativity, adaptability, and strategic thinking. Leaders committed to growth also invest in self-reflection. They regularly assess their actions, decisions, and outcomes to understand what worked, what didn't, and why. Reflection transforms experience into knowledge, turning mistakes into opportunities for improvement and successes into models for repetition. Self-reflection requires honesty and courage, as it often uncovers uncomfortable truths about limitations, habits, and blind spots. Yet, it is precisely this honest appraisal that allows leaders to refine their skills, strengthen their character, and elevate their influence. Curiosity is a driving force behind continuous learning. Leaders who ask questions, explore new ideas, and challenge assumptions stimulate both personal and organizational growth. Curiosity leads to discovery, innovation, and deeper understanding. It pushes leaders beyond comfort zones, encouraging experimentation and creative problem-solving. By fostering curiosity in themselves and their teams, leaders create an environment where learning is valued, innovation thrives, and progress is constant. Resilient leaders also embrace technological and cultural advancements as opportunities to expand their knowledge. The modern world is evolving at an unprecedented pace, and leaders who ignore new tools, methodologies, and perspectives risk obsolescence. Continuous learners actively explore innovations, applying them strategically to improve efficiency, productivity, and engagement. They recognize that growth is not optional, but essential for maintaining relevance, influence, and long-term impact. Teaching and mentoring others is a powerful extension of learning. Leaders who share their knowledge reinforce their own understanding while empowering others to grow. Teaching provides perspective, challenges assumptions, and highlights areas for further development. When leaders invest in the growth of their teams, they create cultures of learning, accountability, and empowerment. Knowledge becomes a shared resource, amplifying the organization's capacity to adapt, innovate, and excel. Finally, continuous learning strengthens resilience. Leaders who view challenges as opportunities to acquire new skills, knowledge, and perspectives approach obstacles with confidence rather than fear. They perceive setbacks not as failures, but as lessons that enhance their ability to navigate future adversity. Growth-oriented leaders turn uncertainty into insight, developing the mental flexibility and emotional stamina necessary to thrive under pressure. By embracing a mindset of lifelong learning, leaders cultivate strength, vision, and influence that endure over time. In essence, leadership excellence is inseparable from a commitment to growth. Knowledge, skills, and insight are not fixed. They are cultivated, refined, and expanded through deliberate effort. Leaders who embrace continuous learning remain adaptable, innovative, and resilient. They inspire curiosity and development in others, fostering cultures of growth and progress. Through reflection, mentorship, exploration, and application, leaders transform every experience into opportunity, every challenge into insight, and every day into a chance to become more capable, more insightful, and more effective. Continuous learning is not merely a tool for success. It is the very essence of enduring leadership. Leadership is most powerful when it is modeled rather than mandated. Words can inspire, but actions define true leadership. Leading by example is the practice of aligning behavior with values, principles, and promises. It is the demonstration of integrity through daily choices, the embodiment of standards in every interaction, and the visible proof that a leader does not ask of others what they are unwilling to do themselves. Consistency in action builds credibility, trust, and loyalty, while inconsistencies erode confidence and diminish influence. Those who follow a leader watch closely. They interpret silence, gestures, and decisions as signals of what is acceptable. Leadership by example communicates far more than words ever could. Consistency in behavior is the foundation of influence. Leaders who act predictably and uphold their principles earn trust because people know what to expect from them. Decisions made in alignment with values reinforce reliability, even in times of pressure or uncertainty. This predictability does not mean rigidity. It reflects steadfast commitment to guiding principles while remaining flexible enough to adapt strategies to changing circumstances. Teams function best when they can anticipate the ethical and operational standards of their leader, creating an environment of clarity, accountability, and stability. Integrity amplifies the impact of leading by example. A leader who consistently demonstrates honesty, transparency, and fairness sets the tone for the entire organization. People are more likely to mirror behavior that is authentic and principled. When a leader admits mistakes, takes responsibility, and honors commitments, they create a culture where ethical behavior is expected and celebrated. Integrity in leadership establishes moral authority, the kind of influence that does not rely on fear, position, or coercion, but on respect, trust, and credibility. Leading by example requires visibility. Leadership is not confined to formal meetings or major decisions. It exists in daily interactions, small choices, and subtle behaviors. How a leader communicates, how they handle challenges, how they manage time, and how they treat colleagues sends a continuous message. These actions shape perception, reinforce culture, and guide behavior across the team. People observe not only what leaders achieve, but how they achieve it. Every interaction is an opportunity to exemplify values, ethics, and standards. Accountability is central to leading by example. Leaders who hold themselves accountable for results, decisions, and behavior demonstrate that standards apply to everyone equally, including themselves. This accountability creates fairness and encourages others to take responsibility for their own actions. When leaders consistently follow through, they inspire commitment, diligence, and ownership within the team. Accountability reinforces the principle that leadership is not a privilege to command, but a responsibility to model. Courage intersects with leading by example. Effective leaders make difficult choices, confront challenges, and uphold principles even when doing so is uncomfortable or unpopular. Their willingness to act decisively in the face of risk shows others that courage is an integral part of leadership. By taking responsibility for decisions, maintaining ethical standards, and remaining resilient under pressure, leaders model behavior that inspires confidence and emulation. Courageous action signals to teams that integrity and accountability are not optional, but essential. Empathy enhances the power of example. Leaders who demonstrate understanding, respect, and concern for others' perspectives create a culture of inclusion and collaboration. By modeling empathy, leaders influence interactions at all levels of the organization, encouraging constructive communication, mutual support, and trust. When leaders treat people with dignity, fairness, and compassion, they establish behavioral norms that promote a positive and productive environment. Leadership through empathy shows that high performance and human connection are not mutually exclusive. Consistency also builds organizational culture. Teams internalize the behaviors, values, and standards demonstrated by their leaders. When a leader acts with integrity, accountability, and resilience consistently, these qualities become embedded in the organization's identity. Employees learn to emulate the behavior they observe, aligning personal conduct with the leader's example. Over time, this creates a self-reinforcing culture of professionalism, trust, and high performance. In contrast, inconsistency breeds confusion, disengagement, and erosion of morale. Leading by example extends beyond performance. It encompasses character and judgment. Leaders who manage stress with composure, handle conflict constructively, and maintain professionalism under pressure show their teams how to navigate challenges effectively. These behaviors communicate standards that are internalized by others, creating stability, confidence, and predictability. Teams led by such examples are more likely to maintain focus, adapt to change, and sustain motivation even in challenging circumstances. Leaders who model continuous improvement further strengthen their influence. When they seek feedback, acknowledge limitations, and invest in personal growth, they demonstrate that leadership is a journey, not a static position. This visible commitment to development inspires teams to embrace learning, take initiative, and improve their own performance. Leadership by example is not only about demonstrating competence, it is also about demonstrating the values, habits, and mindset necessary for continuous growth. Trust is the natural outcome of leading by example. People follow those they believe are credible, consistent, and principled. Trust builds engagement, loyalty, and willingness to go above and beyond. Teams are more motivated and resilient when they have confidence that their leader acts ethically, communicates transparently, and upholds standards under pressure. Trust transforms hierarchical authority into genuine influence, enabling leaders to guide, inspire, and empower without relying solely on positional power. Ultimately, leading by example with consistency and integrity creates a ripple effect that extends beyond individual interactions. It shapes culture, establishes norms, inspires action, and builds lasting credibility. Teams observe, internalize, and emulate the behavior of leaders who model the standards they value. Every decision, action, and choice becomes a lesson in leadership itself. By embodying principles Through consistent and ethical behavior, leaders not only achieve results, but cultivate environments where excellence, accountability, and integrity flourish naturally. True leadership is not measured by the number of tasks a leader completes, but by the number of people they empower to achieve greatness. Empowerment is the deliberate act of giving others the tools, authority, and confidence to take initiative, make decisions, and take responsibility for outcomes. Leaders who empower others create environments where talent thrives, innovation flourishes, and teams operate at peak capacity. Empowerment is not delegation without guidance. It is the art of enabling individuals to rise to challenges, develop skills, and achieve results beyond what they thought possible. Empowering others begins with trust. Leaders must demonstrate confidence in the abilities, judgment, and integrity of their team members. Trust is built through consistent behavior, transparent communication, and fair treatment. When people feel trusted, they take ownership of their responsibilities and invest emotionally in outcomes. Leaders who empower through trust encourage initiative, creativity, and problem-solving, creating a culture where team members feel valued and capable of contributing meaningfully. Without trust, attempts at empowerment are perceived as superficial or manipulative, undermining both performance and morale. Clarity of expectations is essential for empowerment. Individuals must understand the objectives, boundaries, and desired outcomes associated with their responsibilities. Leaders provide guidance and context, ensuring that team members know the vision and how their role contributes to it. Clarity reduces confusion, builds confidence, and encourages independent decision-making. Empowered individuals are more willing to take calculated risks when they know what success looks like and what parameters they can operate within. Effective communication of expectations transforms potential into purposeful action. Mentorship plays a critical role in empowerment. Leaders who invest time in coaching, teaching, and guiding their team members accelerate growth and enhance capability. Mentorship provides insight, feedback, and encouragement, helping individuals overcome obstacles and develop confidence in their abilities. By sharing knowledge and experience, leaders create a ripple effect, multiplying leadership capacity throughout the organization. Mentorship demonstrates that empowerment is not simply handing off tasks. It is nurturing potential, equipping others with the skills, perspective, and confidence to excel. Recognition and support are powerful tools for fostering empowerment. People respond to acknowledgement of their contributions and the assurance that they are supported in their efforts. Leaders who celebrate achievements, provide constructive feedback, and offer resources create an environment where individuals feel safe to innovate and take initiative. Empowerment thrives when individuals know that their efforts are valued, and that failure is an opportunity to learn rather than a reason for punishment. Encouragement builds resilience, motivation, and engagement, ensuring that empowered individuals persist in the pursuit of excellence. Delegation is a key mechanism for empowerment, but it must be done thoughtfully. Effective leaders assign responsibilities that align with individual strengths, while providing opportunities for growth. Delegation should challenge individuals to stretch their capabilities, encouraging skill development and confidence building. Leaders balance autonomy with accountability, providing guidance without micromanaging. This balance allows team members to take ownership of outcomes, while knowing they have the support and expertise of a trusted leader behind them. Empowerment also requires fostering a culture of collaboration. Leaders who encourage input, idea sharing, and joint problem-solving create an environment where collective intelligence is harnessed. Empowered individuals are not working in isolation. They are contributing to a larger purpose, learning from each other, and elevating performance through shared knowledge and experience. Collaboration amplifies the impact of empowerment as individuals feel connected, supported, and motivated to contribute their best efforts to achieve shared objectives. Confidence is a natural byproduct of empowerment. When individuals are entrusted with responsibility, given guidance, and supported in their growth, they develop the self-belief necessary to take initiative. Confidence fuels action, creativity, and resilience. Empowered individuals are more likely to embrace challenges, propose innovative solutions, and sustain effort in the face of obstacles. Leaders who cultivate confidence enable people to move beyond their comfort zones, unlocking potential that might otherwise remain dormant. Empowering others requires leaders to relinquish control without compromising accountability. True empowerment allows individuals to make decisions, experiment, and learn from outcomes while understanding their responsibility to the team and mission. Leaders must resist the temptation to micromanage, recognizing that over-control stifles growth, innovation, and motivation. By balancing freedom with responsibility, leaders create an environment where initiative is encouraged and excellence becomes the standard. Feedback is an essential component of empowerment. Constructive, timely, and actionable feedback enables individuals to refine their skills, make informed decisions, and improve performance. Leaders who provide feedback with clarity, fairness, and encouragement foster continuous growth and reinforce the belief that effort, learning, and development are valued. Empowerment is reinforced when individuals feel supported in their learning journey and equipped to achieve results that matter. Empowering leaders also create opportunities for advancement and visibility. They identify talent, provide challenging assignments, and give individuals a platform to demonstrate their capabilities. By creating pathways for achievement, leaders not only motivate high performance, but also prepare the next generation of leaders. Empowerment becomes a long-term investment, multiplying organizational capacity, resilience, and success. Ultimately, empowerment is about creating a legacy that extends beyond the individual leader. When leaders cultivate capability, confidence, and initiative in others, they build organizations that thrive independently. Teams become agile, innovative, and self-sustaining. Individuals rise to their potential, achieving results that far exceed expectations. Empowerment transforms ordinary environments into arenas of growth, motivation, and excellence. Leaders who master this discipline leave lasting impact because they have not only guided outcomes, but have elevated people, enabling them to achieve their full potential and, in turn, amplify the collective success of the organization. Momentum is the lifeblood of sustained achievement, and leaders understand that maintaining it requires discipline, focus, and relentless commitment to the mission. Vision alone is insufficient if it is not paired with consistent action and the ability to channel energy toward meaningful results. Sustaining momentum demands more than short-term bursts of effort. It requires the creation of habits, routines, and structures that ensure progress continues even when enthusiasm wanes or obstacles arise. Leaders who master momentum create environments where forward movement becomes a natural outcome, and teams develop the confidence and determination to achieve extraordinary results. Discipline is the foundation of sustained momentum. Leaders who consistently adhere to principles, plans, and priorities ensure that efforts are directed toward strategic objectives rather than scattered across distractions. Discipline is not restriction. It is a framework that maximizes efficiency, effectiveness, and impact. Leaders demonstrate discipline through time management, consistent execution, and the ability to resist short-term temptations that undermine long-term goals. Their commitment to disciplined action sets a standard for the entire team, reinforcing a culture where focus, accountability, and perseverance are valued and practiced. Focus amplifies the impact of discipline. Leaders who can concentrate on high-priority tasks and critical objectives ensure that energy is not dissipated across trivial or non-essential activities. Focused leadership directs attention toward what truly matters, aligning effort with strategic outcomes. By prioritizing the most impactful actions, leaders maintain forward momentum, achieve meaningful progress, and inspire confidence in those who follow. Distraction is the enemy of momentum, and disciplined focus transforms intention into tangible achievement. Sustaining momentum also requires planning and foresight. Leaders must anticipate potential obstacles, shifts in circumstances, and evolving challenges. By developing contingency plans, setting incremental milestones, and regularly reviewing progress, leaders create a roadmap that keeps the team moving forward with clarity and purpose. Planning does not eliminate uncertainty, but it provides a structure that allows action to continue even when external conditions are unpredictable. Momentum is preserved when leaders balance strategic vision with practical preparation, ensuring that progress is both steady and sustainable. Consistency in action reinforces momentum. Small, deliberate steps taken repeatedly accumulate into substantial results over time. Leaders who maintain consistency demonstrate reliability and set a pace that their teams can emulate. Consistency communicates that progress is non-negotiable, that effort is valued, and that every contribution matters. It is the steady rhythm of disciplined, focused action that transforms vision into reality and ensures that initiatives do not stall when immediate challenges arise. Leaders also sustain momentum by creating accountability structures. When team members understand their responsibilities, deliverables, and timelines, they are more likely to maintain focus and energy. Accountability encourages follow-through, reinforces discipline, and prevents stagnation. Leaders model accountability through their own behavior, demonstrating that commitments are honored, standards are upheld, and objectives are pursued relentlessly. Accountability transforms intention into execution, ensuring that momentum is actively maintained rather than passively hoped for. Adaptability enhances momentum by enabling leaders to navigate obstacles without losing progress. Challenges, setbacks, and unforeseen events are inevitable, but disciplined leaders adjust strategies, reassess priorities, and redirect resources to maintain forward motion. Flexibility does not compromise focus. It ensures that energy is applied to the most effective pathways. Leaders who adapt while remaining committed to overarching goals preserve momentum, even in the face of adversity, turning potential disruptions into opportunities for growth and learning. Motivation and inspiration are crucial for sustaining momentum over the long term. Leaders who communicate vision clearly, celebrate milestones, and recognize effort reinforce commitment and engagement. Momentum is strengthened when individuals understand the purpose behind their work and see tangible evidence of progress. By consistently acknowledging achievement, energizing teams, and articulating the value of collective effort, leaders create an environment where momentum is self-reinforcing, fueled by belief, pride, and shared purpose. Time management is a critical component of disciplined momentum. Leaders who allocate their energy to high-impact activities, eliminate distractions, and maintain structured workflows ensure that progress is efficient and continuous. Time is finite, and leaders who respect it demonstrate discipline that inspires others to do the same. Focused use of time transforms potential into performance, ensuring that momentum is maintained through deliberate, intentional action rather than reactive effort. Leaders sustain momentum by fostering resilience. Momentum inevitably encounters resistance, setbacks, and fatigue. Resilient leaders maintain energy, perspective, and determination, modeling perseverance for their teams. Resilience ensures that temporary difficulties do not derail progress, that challenges become lessons rather than roadblocks, and that commitment remains unwavering. When leaders demonstrate resilience, they cultivate a culture where obstacles are met with resourcefulness and persistence rather than discouragement or inertia. Delegation and empowerment contribute to sustained momentum by distributing responsibility and creating parallel streams of progress. Leaders who empower capable team members allow multiple initiatives to advance simultaneously, reducing bottlenecks and increasing overall organizational speed. Delegation requires trust, clarity, and accountability, ensuring that empowered individuals maintain focus and contribute meaningfully. When teams operate autonomously, yet aligned with overarching objectives, momentum is amplified and progress becomes exponential rather than incremental. Reflection and evaluation are essential for maintaining momentum. Leaders who regularly assess performance, identify areas for improvement, and refine strategies prevent stagnation and maintain forward motion. Reflection is not passive. It is an active process that informs action, sharpens focus, and sustains energy. Leaders who integrate reflection into their routines ensure that momentum is not lost to repeated mistakes or inefficiencies, but instead is reinforced by insight and continuous improvement. Ultimately, sustaining momentum through discipline and focus transforms potential into tangible results. Leaders who combine consistent action, strategic focus, adaptability, accountability, and resilience create an environment where progress becomes inevitable. Momentum is not dependent on fleeting enthusiasm, but on deliberate, disciplined, and focused leadership. Teams follow naturally when they see sustained energy, purposeful direction, and consistent achievement. Leaders who master this discipline build organizations that move forward relentlessly, overcome challenges efficiently, and achieve extraordinary results through continuous, unstoppable motion. This has been 12 Disciplines of Leadership Excellence, narrated by Wisdom in Minutes Audiobooks, where every word inspires progress and every lesson brings you closer to your best self.